Hey guys, does anybody else get the feeling that a lot of these fighters are dropping out way too fast? Because that's kind of like the sentiment that I kind of got out of this episode, especially considering the fact that they're supposed to be the top 10 from their respective verses. Then again, maybe the reason for why this initial part of the elimination stage of the tournament is going by so fast is because the writers want to get to something else, something bigger, like a plot twist. Maybe the High Priest is the actual genuine villain of the arc, and then people begin to realize this, the top fighters realize this, and they make an alliance, they unite against him. Or maybe once we get to the actual top fighters, the last people that are left standing on the platform, maybe we'll have episodes that go by, a couple of episodes go by without anybody actually dropping out of the platform. I just really hope that the recruitment arc buildup that we got pays off by the end, And I'm sure it will, but as of right now, all I'm going to say is that if fighters keep dropping at the rate that they have been up until this point, this arc is probably going to reach its climax pretty soon. Unless, they decide to extend some of those final fights.
Okay, so right off the bat, when I saw the scene being set up of the dome encapsulating the Pride Troopers and the two female Saiyans, I thought to myself, there's only two possible outcomes that can come out of this clash. The first one is either Caulifa gets eliminated by the Pride Troopers, and that triggers another Berserker episode from Kale, and she goes crazy, and she actually takes out the Pride Troopers, or the Pride Troops get eliminated in some other way. So what happened, obviously, was the latter, and I will say that I'm a little bit... The only reason why I have a problem with the Pride Troopers getting taken out in this episode the way they were taken out was because I honestly, I thought that Jiren was going to show up. I thought Jiren was going to interfere and actually stop Kale. I wanted him to show up and stop Kale from pushing them out of bounds. I wanted him to break through the barrier. Because technically speaking, if a combined attack of Caulifa and Kale is capable of breaking through the barrier, I think Jiren, if Goku and Jiren really wanted to, they could have broken through that barrier as well. But the reason for why Jiren isn't there is because Toppo tells them, we gotta pull back, save our stamina, which I could definitely foresee this being an issue in the future, because if you think about it, once Goku begins fighting Jiren, Jiren is almost literally almost at full, and Goku he's not drained, but Goku right now he's not at full anymore. He's gone Super Saiyan Blue already, I think twice if I'm not mistaken. In the beginning, people were ganging up on him, and in this episode, Toppo just shoots a Justice Flash at him that buries him into the ground. So you get a pretty cool scene there with Roshi using the Lightning Flash to paralyze an opponent, and then it's actually a combo elimination because Tenshin Han comes in with the new Kikohu and pushes the guy out of bounds. So then we have this line here of him saying "That's our Tien," and it's kind of I think it's a forced bit of dialogue. It kind of felt like the studio was spoon feeding us, remember guys, Tenshin Han over Roshi, in case you forgot. And so that faction of Universe Team 7 begins to regroup, followed by Frieza and Vegeta. Frieza actually eliminates another character that Vegeta had dibs on. So Universe 11 sends out 5 Pride Troopers to attempt to eliminate Goku from the tournament, and we finally get to hear their names. Obviously, all of their names are puns or references to kitchen-related utensils. There's this one guy who I will refer to as the rock-type Hitmonchan because of his design. His name is called Tupper. He's Tupper, and I'm wait, isn't Toppo supposed to be the pun on Tupperware? It's they're so similar.
We come to find out that casserole, or casserole, is kind of the fodder version of Green Lantern because he can mold and manipulate his energy and turn it into weapons. Initially, he tries to go up against the androids, and one of the things that I really enjoyed about this episode was that it just highlights the utility, the usefulness, and the power of the androids. Both of them eat up attacks in this episode. Alright, 18 tanks a rolled out attack and then lifts it with one hand, and she gets an elimination. She eliminates the Princess Zelda Pride Trooper, for lack of a better term. And then 17 tanks an attack from Castrol with his barrier, doesn't take any damage, which is going to be very interesting moving forward because from what we saw in the preview, he seems to be taking some damage from those magical girls that he's fighting. I got worried when I saw that. I was like, oh man, is he going to get eliminated? Because with each episode that goes by, the tougher opponents remain, right? You're not looking good in that episode preview, but we'll see what happens. Also, 18 gives Goku a hand because I guess Goku, in order to conserve, to keep some of his stamina, he refused to transform when the Rock Hitmonchan was trying to, push him into the ground by increasing his weight, and 18 had to come in there and, gave Goku a hand. But I'm pretty sure that if Goku wanted to, he would have been able to break the hold. And I don't know if this happens to you, but especially in this episode, this happened to me where I saw these Pride Troopers, and in the back of my mind I was thinking, should I really even get invested in these characters? Because like there's a part of me that's thinking, like, gee, I wonder how long these characters are going to last. Like, for example, right, I like the little chibi goat character that had this like Tasmanian devil whirlwind attack. I thought he was kind of cool in his own way, but then he just got eliminated, and I'm like, are you ever going to be relevant again? That's my concern. And not only him, but you saw this episode, 5 Pride Troopers get taken out in one go. If you add the one that Kale took out, that's 6. So literally, after this episode, there's only 4 Pride Troopers, Topo, Despo, Jiren, and then another one that I think looks like an amphibian that, hasn't been shown very much, but he's still there. He's still in the platform. Now let's get into the whole Kale situation, because, judging from last week's episode, that seems to be the root of a lot of controversy. All right, so last week I said that I think a lot of people would have been more accepting of Kale's enormous power and her tanking a blue Kamehameha if the writers have actually dedicated some time, not even an episode, maybe half an episode, to give some backstory, some history to this new Berserker Mode, right? And I'm not saying like, anything too complicated. It could have just been something like, like Legends of Universe 6 talk about the legendary Berserker Mode. You know how in Battle of Gods, Beerus has this vision of Super Saiyan God? Okay, so something like that, but for Champa, in which Champa like makes a comment about, like I saw it, like this vision of like this Berserker Mode, this legendary Berserker Mode from Universe 6. However, the problem is you can't do that because Champa, when he calls up Kaba, he's like, I need more Saiyans. So it seems like he was very unaware of that even existing. So that would kind of inadvertently create another inconsistency, unfortunately. But the point is that it would be a good idea to establish a mode as being super powerful before we see it actually being powerful on screen, especially when it comes from a character that in base form doesn't really look that intimidating, okay? That being said, the new controlled Kale mode looked stunning. I think she looks beautiful. This new design definitely helps her stand out more, and it differentiates her a lot from Broly, which is a big complaint that a lot of people have been having. It's like Broly and Kale, what's the difference? So this really helps out a lot. Honestly, I wish she could have remained in this mode for a longer period of time during the episode, because then she just goes straight back to Berserker mode, the controlled version of it at least. And now it's quite evident that the mode definitely has a huge drawback, because it definitely drains her from her stamina. So once she uses it, it kind of just leaves her wide open for people to come in and just try to finish her off or push her off the platform. So that's a very, very big drawback. If it weren't for Caulifa, like having her back, she would be in serious trouble. That being said, I just kind of question like the motivation for these changes. I love the changes, but the motivation behind them, the reasoning behind them, seems to always be Caulifa. Why did she go Berserker mode the first time? Caulifa. Why did she go Berserker mode the second time? Caulifa. Why did she learn to control the mode? Caulifa. Why does she hate Goku? Right? And she literally says like, I don't really like this guy. Why is it? Caulifa. That's just something that I noticed. Like, there's literally no other reason given in the show for why Kale does what she does, other than the affection that she feels for Caulifa. Overall, though, I thought this was a pretty fun, I'd say decent. Really, no, it was a good episode of Dragon Ball Super. And looks like next week Vegeta's gonna match himself up against Ribrianne, magical Teletubby girl. He still has Super Saiyan Blue in reserve, so I wouldn't be too worried about him. It's 17 I'm worried about, actually. And unfortunately, I did notice that they're kind of reusing some of the animation from the opening of the fight. So that was kind of like, I kind of wish I understood why they're doing that, because from my perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense given the success of the franchise, for them to be having budget issues to, reuse animation. But, that's only an assumption, because I honestly don't know what's, going on behind closed doors when it comes to those studios. So, yeah, and, just to leave with a little bit of bright news here, Mr. Yardradian, who I questioned whether or not he got eliminated in the previous episode by Caulifa, is in the preview, so he'll be back there.
Looks like this group is cheering on the Universe 2 Magical Girl Teletubby group, which in my opinion looks pretty tough. I just think from a basic story standpoint, if they were saved for them to start fighting and showcasing their true power later on in the game, it's probably because they're tough opponents, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for Dragon Ball Super reviews every Saturday night. Comment down below with your thoughts. Catch you guys later. Thank you. Bye.